All right, welcome in. That's right. It's Monday, so of course we've got to overreact to what we saw here for the weekend. I'm Andrew Jupe. Welcome to the Daily Dose. That's right. It's sports on the daily for your area, your favorite players, your favorite teams. That's what we're all about because we know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You need it every day to get you towards the weekend and take care of business. So let's get it rolling for our Overreaction Monday, as we like to talk about. So we like to scour the social media after the landscape of what we have for the games here and see the most, I guess, overreaction kind of standpoints. We've played 1 week games, so it feels like we can crown a state champ, right? We can go and we can figure out exactly what we see in December. So, of course, this is the exact kind of approach. Of course, what we have for Overreaction Monday to see what we have. But the proof is in the pudding. So the conversation points have been made, but we'll just take a little peek behind the curtain to see, hey, is this something we can jump on board with? Is this something we can not jump on board with? We'll let you make the decision. We give you the information on a couple different levels, and you go with it as you will. So let's get into it. Of course, the first overreaction scene from the weekend. God, best team in North Florida. Something to think about. Godby, impressive victory. It was the game of the year, realistically, here in North Florida, especially in the capital city. You had Godby versus Rickards. It had been, I think, 7 straight since Rickards had lost to Godby, and Godby was chomping at the bit. They looked dominant, taking and forcing a turnover on the opening kickoff, and then kind of running wild here for the rest of the matchup. 35-13 ended up being the final in that one in favor of the Godby Cougars. So you think about it. What makes the team the best, right? You need execution, you need quality, you need all good things on every single level. So I think people are going to jump to conclusions because we know Rick's good. We knew Godby was going to be good, but how good are they? Is I think kind of the message that the people are driving home. But you want to see a couple criteria. Like we said, you want to be good, clean, efficient, dangerous on all levels. So you look at it from the special teams offense and defense. What do we have going on? How's our defensive front? How's our linebacking core? How are our wide receivers? I think Godby kind of passed the test. I don't know how far you want to take them, or I don't know how big you want to kind of push that, but Godby is legit. Passing game with Dougherty. Of course, you know about Waffle House Simmons on the perimeter, but there's a couple guys you may not know about. I'm talking about Estamond. He's on the other side. And I'm talking about in the slot. Let's talk about a little Murray. Let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. Godby has it going on, and it makes him so dangerous. If you need somebody who's going to bust it up and rip down the ball carrier on defense, you got Christian Beaudefort, right? So something that I'm looking for on there as well. If you're looking for somebody on the defensive line, you've got Ja'Cory Davis, who had 2 sacks against Rickards. So you start to see it. You try not to get too exaggerative in this week 1 action from what you've seen, but you really enjoy what you're seeing from the Godby Cougar standpoint. And if you're a Cougar faithful, you may want to kind of dust off the old jersey. If it's been hanging up in the back of the closet for a while, you may want to get it going. This could be a banner year for Godby. By banner, do I mean state championship? Possibly, right? Potentially, they got to stay healthy, and obviously a tough classification that they have to march through, which if you're interested in, you should check out our district breakdown videos that we will have kind of popping up here on Field Desk Sports. But I think it's a really enjoyable ride. Dougherty had 4 touchdowns, slinging it around. Like we said, Simmons, he's going to get his, right? But then it's what are the other receivers doing? And it's not just a one receiver show. And I want to be super clear about that. Granted, he's a baller. We know that he's going to get his. But you look over on the other side, the NFC transfer, Estamond, he's going to be dangerous. He got himself a touchdown. He's a really quality receiver, multi-sport athlete, and he can get it done. And then if you try to focus on the perimeters, you're going to get shredded because you have a really crafty wide receiver in the slot that I don't think gets enough credit. And that, of course, is Murray. He's really dangerous, and he will carve you up. So when Godby can spread you out, you have these three weapons going behind this offensive line. I think you feel confident here with Dougherty, under center. Of course, dual threat guy. And as Coach Olston says, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the area, if not the most underrated quarterback in the area. So, of course, that's just the receiving game. Let's get into the rushing game a little bit, which I'm all about. I personally discovered. I didn't discover him big picture, but I first saw him in person first week of October, 2024. A couple years ago, he was a sophomore. He was in a game, and he was on the end of a really one-sided affair in which his team suffered a defeat. But Cameron McMillan, you could see, was gonna be a baller. Of course, still had a fantastic game. I think he averaged over 6 yards a carry in that defeat, which they lost by a hefty margin. And of course, here with the Godby Cougars, he looked great last week, went over 150, of course, behind this big Godby offensive line. And so if you try to force it into a passing game, or you try to take the passing game away, you have the rushing game to deal with. And so that's the thing. It's not just one receiver, three receiver, not just a passing game. You got a dual threat quarterback, not just him, but then you've also got a bona fide baller in a tailback behind this offensive line. And it's not just offense. You've got the guys on defense, like we talked about, Davis and Bodeford pitching in here. And so from what we've seen, right, me personally, I can't crown a state champ here after 1 week. But I get what you see. I get what you like. And if you're a Godby Cougar faithful, hey, man, you broke the streak against Rick. Talk your smack. Keep it going. Get ready for an exciting ride. Continue to support this team. Continue to go out, show out, go to those games. It was an absolutely wild scene down at Gene Cox last week, down near the fairgrounds, to go out for that game. So by all means, go get it. Have some fun. Enjoy the ride. But I think you can be confident in that when you look at the Godby Cougars, legit ball club, 100%. All right, moving on. More for the Overreaction Monday. So something else I saw here coming out of the weekend, Leon is back. Interesting to think about. Of course, the Leon Lions had a nice victory against Fernandina Beach. Got down early, but showed some good reserve to battle back into this one and go after it and get the big win. Ended up really opening up in the second half and had a pretty sound performance. Granted, I know Fernandina Beach is a little bit of a smaller school, so people are going to bring that up, right? Fair point. On the other side, second time this decade that Leon started 1-0. So you like what you see for the progress, the resilience, like we talked about. I think Manassa on defense is an absolute certified baller, one-man wrecking crew, and he is all over the field. So you love what you see from him so far in this season. And then you like what you see, getting his full shot here this season. Knipple in at quarterback. You love the potential that kind of he brings. We saw some glimpses here on Friday night. So for the people that say Leon is back, let's keep an eye on it. I say, hey, I'm not mad at it. Let's see. Let's see how far they can take this thing. But, hey, you're undefeated. Of the 40-plus teams that we have here in the coverage area, going out from like Panama City all the way down to Swanee, Lake City, Columbia type area, that whole kind of North Florida, Big Bend focus area that we like to tip into, about half of them are undefeated. And Leon's still in the list. So overreaction, Leon is back. Maybe not an overreaction. We'll let you be the judge. So let's get into our next potential overreaction. Tallahassee has the best kickers in the state. I really think there's a lot of teams out there. It's tough to tell how many quality and top-tier kickers that they have in the state. So I think that's pretty impossible question. I think, check the box, Overreaction Monday, but that's what we've been seeing. Having said that, I think you have some valid points because you look at a couple different ballers over the weekend that really kind of proved the point to be moving the needle for your Tallahassee teams. Of course, we went down to the wire in one of these games. And then the other game, was pretty taken care of by the one team. Both happen to be buzzer beaters, though. So when you talk about the best, a lot of times people want to emphasize that kind of clutch gene, right? Or when you have your biggest moments, can you deliver when it matters most? Both of these kickers from Tallahassee schools delivered in clutch crunch time. First one happened down in Southwood with Florida High. It was Tucker Campbell, end of the second quarter. And of course, ball is on the 40-yard line. Florida High going in. So it's a 50-yard field goal. Tucker Campbell nails it to beat the buzzer before halftime. So shout out to Tucker Campbell from Florida High. On the other side, we talk about a buzzer beater. This one was in the fourth quarter. Game is tied 10-10. Everything on the line here, and the man delivered for the game winner. Buzzer goes off as the football goes through the uprights out at Crestview. Lincoln's Barron Burris knocks it in for the game-winning field goal. So you got a 50-yarder, you got a game winner, both buzzer beaters, both from schools in Tallahassee. So though it may be an overreaction from the weekend to say Tallahassee has the best kickers in the state, I'm not going to say that they don't have the best kickers in the state. So take it from what you will. We're always looking for some great special teams performances, among others, which are going to come later in the week. You got to check us out with some Top Tier Thursday. We'll have some big ballers and great performances from the week. That's going to be part of your Monday to Friday content here on the Daily Dose. I'm Andrew Jupe with Field Desk Sports. Thanks for coming aboard and joining us. And like you can see in the little ticker below, hey, if you like what we're putting down, feel free to check it out on social media. Like to subscribe to all that crap. If you don't mind, rate it, whatever you can do, all that good stuff helps get the word out for athletes in our channel. And also, selfishly, we want to circulate this thing a little bit and get the conversation going. It's like, hey, where did we get it wrong? Tell us that too. Make sure you hit those in the comments. You have a great rest of your day.